Hello and welcome to the sixth video in the MB Sports Web video training series covering the Game Officials module. This video will look at some of the reporting and analysis tools available for the assigner within the Game Officials module, such as reviewing the schedules by official, the availability by date, and the blocks by official reports, and we'll review the configuration options that determine whether or not the officials can add their own blocks. We'll look at a report called the monthly count by official. We'll look at some of the new assignment auditing reports that are available. And lastly, we'll have a look at the mass email options that are available within the Game Officials module. So back in the MB Sports Web demo site, we're within the Game Officials module and actually just looking at the dashboard page. Now the dashboard page will advise of any features that are added to the Game Officials module, and they will be shown in the information on that dashboard. But it'll also look to detect if there are any upcoming games within the next 2 weeks that have no officials assigned. So it will warn you about that with quick links to the unassigned games page. It'll also give you a list of all the number of officials that are assigned or set up in the system per position. But the first report we're going to look at is the schedule by official. That's found within the Manage Officials area and then the Schedules by Official page. So this will ask you to pick a position of the official, or simply just pick the official and click the Show Schedule button. So this will show the game schedule for a single official, at which point we can print that off as well. In addition to standard games lists that show on the website, this also shows the position that they are assigned in that particular game as well as their pay. So the next report we'll look at is the Blocks by Official page, which is above the Schedules by Official page. And here again we can filter the officials by position or just simply select the official from the list and click Show Blocks. This will give us a list of the officials blocks into two separate tables. The first one being the time blocks that are set up in the site, which shows the start, date, and time, and the end date and time, and then the duration for that block and any notes that have been created with that block for the time. And the second table will show both team and venue blocks in the same list. It'll show the type of block, either a team or a venue, the name of the team or the venue, and any notes that have been assigned for that as well. Now just to quickly review, in the Setup and Settings area under Configuration Options for the module, which is a page that is only available to the primary administrator of the site, one of the things that you can set up is how many user-submitted team or venue blocks are allowed to be entered. So the officials themselves, according to this site, will be able to add one team block and one venue block themselves. Now if we return back to the Blocks by Official page and reselect our official, any blocks that had been entered by the official we can edit or remove as an assigner. Now if we as an assigner have added venue or team blocks on behalf of the official cannot change those blocks. So if the limit that the user can put in is 1 and I as an assigner have put in 5, the user can still put in 1, but they can't put in 2, and they also cannot change the 5 that I put in as an assigner. Now related to all those blocks is the availability by date page. So this page allows us to filter a list of officials by position and or qualification, looking at a specific day, and to look at all these officials and their availability. So in particular what we're looking at are two lines that represent approximately 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. and the first green one would indicate that this official is available for that date period, and the red blocks indicate the time that they've been blocked out, those time blocks. The second sort of light gray line indicates the same date range from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., but this would instead reference their assignments. And these assignments will be color coded based on the status. So if they're orange, they are assigned to the game but have not yet confirmed. If they were red, then that would mean they denied. And if they're green, that means they've confirmed. And below that will show the details of all those assignments on the left hand side, and on the right hand side will show the details of the blocks. The rationale for this page might be that if you're trying to schedule or assign officials for a game and just simply can't find somebody available, you can return to the availability by date page, find the date of the game that you're looking at, and then maybe filter to show the 3-man referees who are level 3 certified and update that, and figure out exactly why all these officials who match that profile are not available for the game that you're trying to schedule. So perhaps they've got blocks in the system that are errors, perhaps they've just been booked everywhere else, in which case that you would need to either get the game rescheduled or to try to find officials from another location. The next report we're going to look at is the monthly count by official. This report will give you an indication of the number of games that have been assigned to each official on a per month basis. Again, we can filter this to show just specific positions, or we can show just specific game types, and we can configure this to show whatever date range we want to look at. So we're going to do this for an entire year and click update, and depending on the volume of games that are in your site, this could take a while to generate. This demo site doesn't have a whole lot, so it's pretty quick. So what this is showing us is a September total, as well as an October total, as well as a report total for each of these officials. So it'll say for each of the names of the officials, how many assignments that they were a 2-man referee, a 3-man referee, a 3-man linesman, or a timekeeper. So all it does is just count how many times they were assigned for each. So if there's a need to make available reports that show allocation on an annual basis or on a monthly basis amongst all the officials to make sure that nobody's getting more than their fair share, then this report would help do that. The next thing we'll take a look at is something that's fairly new, is this assignment auditing page. So every single time an assignment is now added, updated, deleted, canceled, anything that's happening that affects assignments is now being tracked in this auditing table, and this page will give us the report. So there are different events that can happen which will trigger this audit to happen. But for example, what you might want to look at are things that the assigner did themselves. So that would be games that have been assigned via the assigner, and then subsequently games that might have been unassigned via the assigner. So if we check those two types of actions and click update, then we'll get a shorter list of things that are applicable for those types of events. We can see the games that were affected when that happened, who the official was, what their position was, and whether it was an assigned or an unassigned, and when it actually happened and who did it. Now for the unassigned, perhaps what you also want to do is keep track of why those officials were unassigned, in the cases where you want to track officials that continually give back games and don't have legitimate reasons for doing so. So you can type whatever you want into those notes fields and click update, and then we'll have a way of storing not only the fact that they were unassigned to a game, but the reason they were that happened. So in addition, so we can not only check the type of action that occurred, but we can narrow this down to a single official. Click update, and then now we'll have a history of every time that official was either assigned or unassigned. Or if we just go back and choose just the unassigned part, we have the full history of games that were unassigned by the assigner and the reasons for that. And the last thing we'll look at in this video is the mass email that's available within the Game Official site. This is very simple at this point. You can type in a subject of your message, and you can choose to email either all of the officials or a subset of them by position. So for example, if I wanted to email all the 3-man referees by position, I would just choose that option, double click, and that will add it to my recipients list, type my message and hit send, and that will end up sending a message to anybody who's in that position. We can add additional email addresses to our message if we know what they are. Or we can add more than one group, so if I want to do the 3-man referees and all the timekeepers, we can do that as well. Or I can just simply email all the officials in the site.